Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Today I'm going to be working on a small project, but it should have a pretty good effect here in the living room theater, and that's more light control, specifically in the kitchen, because that's where the majority of the light is coming in, obviously during the daytime. When it's nighttime, I have very good light control in here. We can just turn out the lights. I have blackout curtains to take out anything that might be coming in from the outside directly, and that's all that's needed. But here in the daytime, well, it gets pretty bright, even though I don't have direct sun to any windows in sight of the room here. So this is my daytime viewing, and it's not exceptionally bright. I mean, the camera has to crank up the ISO to see it, but I don't have any direct sun coming in. My lanai there has it about 20 feet back, and all the windows, that's facing south over there, that's facing north here. So I do have direct light hitting this side of the house for most of the day. And that's where most of this is coming in. I have a hallway and the guest wings over there, but I can simply shut the guest bathroom door and that kills any light coming in through here. I shut these shades. I can just shut my studio door down there, and that leaves, what I'll show you in a second, all the light spilling in from the kitchen and the kitchen windows. And here you can see the difference. Nice and dark from this side now, but a lot of light just pouring in from the kitchen. We've got these two nice big bay windows here, and even with the blinds closed, it doesn't get too dark. Now my first thought was just to get smart blind controllers, which are basically replacement wands with batteries in them, but you can see it doesn't black anything out. I mean, we've still got a ton of light coming in because they're just white wood blinds. They're not blackout shades or anything like that. And this is the absolute best I can get. I mean, it's still not bad, but you can still see there's quite a bit of light coming in. So what I want to get rid of is the rest of this spill here. And we're going to do that with the IKEA Blackout shades. So here I've got a couple units for the correct size openings I need. Now, if you've looked up smart blinds, you've probably noticed they're like $400, $500, $600 a piece. And you might be wondering, well, how the heck is IKEA doing it for $150 to $180, depending on the size? Well, one simple way. They keep things simple. Here's what you get in each box. This is a charger for the batteries. They are a battery run unit. You get the battery here, and it's like the size of a large video light type unit, and it simply goes right in the housing. Now they say it's gonna last for several months of normal use, but they don't tell you what normal use means, so we won't know exactly how long you're gonna get. It's gonna depend on your usage, obviously. And the puppies are play fighting because they just came in from going potty. We've got two brackets which hang the whole assembly, and it's very simple to use. It's just a spring-loaded clip. Super easy. We have a remote control, so if you don't want to use any smart home functions, you just want to put this up somewhere. It's an up and a down, and you can set where the stop is. It is magnetic, so you just stick or mount this on your wall, and then the remote itself just pops that, just like their trod-free remotes, which I use for their lights. Works great. So we'll have that if we need to, but I'll be voice controlling it or using my Harmony remote control, I'm sure. And then this guy is the repeater. This amplifies the signal coming from these so the battery isn't eaten up. And this simply has to be within, I think they said 32 feet or so of the unit, and it plugs right into the charger. And they also give you a USB up here, so you can still use this as a charger. You just need to stick this somewhere in an outlet nearby the units, and that sends everything back to the IKEA hub to integrate with your smart home. And of course, they give you a nice long USB charge cord and a battery for the remote, and that's it. So keeping it simple means I hope you like an aluminum finish and a dark gray shade, because that's the only option. There are no custom sizes. There is one length, I believe it's about 76 inches, so it just won't unfurl all the way for the vast majority of installs. And they only have about 10 different fixed widths. No incrementals, no customs, no colors. So it's not gonna be for integrators or really slick installs where you need everything down to the last eighth of an inch to get a perfect fit on your windows or anything like that. They do give you the options to ceiling or wall mount the brackets, and you can do an inside or outside windowsill mount. I'm gonna mount it on the outside just because I don't wanna replace my blinds, I wanna cover them up. So this will just hang on the wall above them, and that'll work fine. Install is pretty simple. You simply clip these on about 6 inches from each end. Use a level. I'm going to use my laser light level. They don't give you anchors or screws, so you do need to provide your own. Again, cost savings there. And I'll just be mounting them to the wall, right with these 2 holes here. And we'll clip it up. I got to charge the batteries first, and then we'll just connect it to the hub, and it should be good to go. Okay, got the first brackets up there mounted. Ran into a little snag. The bottom holes were hitting some kind of metal plate that's around the window. So I had to break out the good drill bits, but got them in. And the shade just clips right in. Let's do the other one. And got the second one up. Now the batteries aren't fully charged, but they're charged enough where I can put it in, do the setup, and wrap up this video before the sun goes down. It's still super bright out. So the batteries just go right up in here. Snap into place. So each one comes with its own remote. However, one remote can control up to 4 at once. So I'm only going to be using one, and what I'll do is pair both of these to this. And you do need to use the signal repeater, which I've just got plugged down there for now. I'll find an out of the way spot in a bit. And then we can pair this into our existing IKEA trod-free system, which will allow us to control it with the app and all the rest of the smart home stuff. So it comes prepared. I haven't set the stop limit, so it's going to want to unfurl itself all the way down. But you can already see that it's fairly quick. I mean, these are pretty good sized windows. There's 65 inches of actual window space, top to bottom. And it's doing a really nice job of actually blocking the light. It's a 35-inch wide opening. I'm going to stop it here. And a 36.25, I think it was, actual blind material width. They do have one wider, but it's 10 inches wider. And I just didn't want to take up that center gap space. It would, look kind of funny. So this model fit best. It was just a hair too wide to be able to put on the inside if I wanted to do that. And I don't know if it's a standard window size or what, but maybe other houses fit their standard sizes, but mine doesn't. It's off by just a smidge. Plus, my dimensions weren't exactly the same up in the middle and down below, so that's just kind of a sloppy build. So now I need to get this into the system, set the stops so that I'll be able to just say close the blind and it will stop down at the actual bottom rather than trying to unfurl to the floor. So pairing the blind remote here is the same as their other remotes. You just pop off the battery cover and you've got a little pairing button. Now on the blinds, just like their drivers for their lights, they have little pairing mode buttons. And to put this into pairing mode, you just press both buttons briefly, and then you hold down this pairing button right up against the battery compartment there where the little link symbol is, and the light will pulse for a few seconds and then they'll be linked. And now it should control both simultaneously. And it does. So I had originally planned on having them come down just to the top of the sills, but the sills aren't exactly level. So with this aluminum bar on the bottoms here, one side had just a hair of light coming through on both of them. So what I did is just set the bottom length just below the sill, and it just quickly pops right over it. It actually seals really well to the wall, so that worked out fine. Take it back down here, you can see it automatically just kind of jumps it. So that's no problem whatsoever. To set your bottom level, all you do is get it to where you want it, and I found it easier to use the remote. And if you need to fine tune one, you can use the buttons, the up and down buttons, just by holding them, and it'll just move until you let go. But you just double tap either of the buttons and that sets your bottom length. And then from then it's a single push up or down. Same with the buttons up there, up or down. You can hold either here or the buttons to do any kind of manual control. Now I do find that they're not always exactly synced, and I also get that in my cabinet lights. I've got one driver here, turn off the cabinet lights. See, they're in perfect sync there, but sometimes one of them just has a little, second delay. And I find that with these blinds as well. And that's simply the hub and the way everything works. But most of the time it's in sync. If you absolutely need them perfectly in sync, forget the IKEA, go right to the Lutron shades. But you're gonna pay over twice as much. But those are, I mean, just like their light switches, which I have everywhere, all their switches, dimmers, controllers in the house, rock solid and 100% perfect every single time. Okay, so the install was typical IKEA nightmare. Their software is just horrendous. If you've got a bunch of their stuff like me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, I can't even give you common things to work around the problems. You're just gonna have to fight through them. I had to reset the remote several times. I had to go through the whole shebang of pairing it to the gateway, pairing it to the repeater, pairing it to each of the blinds multiple times. Sometimes you would do the same procedure, have to relaunch the app, try it again, you get a different result. It just sucks. But fight through it, get the setup right, and you're rewarded. So the button works. I'm just gonna put it right here next to my other remote. I've got it tied into my smart home so I can say, Alexa, close the shades. Alexa, open the shades. And control through my Harmony because it has smart home buttons that I've custom programmed. Okay, back on the next day. So everything is set, everything's fully charged and fully updated. I'll talk about that in a second, but let's go ahead and test everything. So with one button now, I can just turn off all the lights, bring down the blinds. So this is what we're looking to change. Takes about 19 seconds or so for a full length drop. Now I'm only using 65 out of the 76 inches. So it does take a little bit less time, but it's still, you know, pretty significant. All right, and that is looking great. Not quite fully down yet. I can still hear it. And there we go. So that's now fully down. That is a tremendous change. All right, that worked. So just a quick note about updates. If you're using the gateway, which you don't technically need, you can use the blinds just with the remote without any other equipment, but you can't tie into your smart home. If you do connect it to a gateway though, you get full control of the updates for the firmware. Now, two things you have to note. One, it's very slow because it's operating over Zigbee, which is just meant to send commands back and forth. Trying to send tens or hundreds of megabytes to update firmware takes hours per device, and they took at least 6 hours per blind to update the firmware out of the box from what it was shipped with. So if you're installing a bunch of these, it may be days before they're all updated. The other thing is they go in sequence, so it can only do one update, one device at a time. So like I said, if you buy a whole bunch of stuff, you can still use the stuff while it's updating, but just note that it's gonna say updating for hours or days, and that's completely normal. So if you're looking for some economical and pretty cool working smart shades, give the IKEAs a try. The install can be a little trying, but once you get them in, they do work really well. See you next time.